What's up, you guys? My name is Mark and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, the whole finished Batsuit is behind me. What we're going to be doing today is going through the good, the bad, the ugly, the things that went really well, the things that didn't go well and that I would do differently, and then there are some things that I actually changed on the suit that weren't in the video series, so I'm going to go over those as well. And then after all of that, I'm going to put on the suit and show you exactly what it looks like. Let's go. First piece we're going to talk about on the suit is the helmet. I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't think I would change anything about this helmet. I sized it at 95% of the original file size because I've got a smaller head and it just turned out perfect. I love the texture, it fits my head perfectly, and I haven't changed any of it since the last video. If I take it off, obviously I have it on the mannequin here. I don't have the head on because it didn't quite fit, but there is no padding in there. If you can see, the helmet does kind of expand to help get on my face, but it fits my head perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. One of the sections I really want to talk about is this neck piece. This is made up of TPU and resin. These TPU pieces are printed by PCBWay. Big shout out to them. They are a sponsor of the channel, and I have noticed some of the comments, and I've noticed myself, that the shipping prices have gone way up. Sometimes they're even more expensive than the pieces themselves. This, I believe, is because of the tariffs that have been implemented over the last year. I am in the US, so I haven't used them quite as much because of the tariff prices. However, I do plan to use them in the future. I do love them. They provide really quality parts. As you can see, these TPU parts are like perfect, fast turnaround time. So if you've never used them, at least go check them out, and hopefully in the future, we'll see those shipping prices come down. One of the things I wanted to talk about here is that I printed all these TPU pieces separate, and I took elastic strap and connected them together. I would do that 100% differently. I think I would take these TPU pieces, because all these pieces are separate right here, even in the back, and these pieces right here. I would take them, put them into Mesh Mixer or Fusion 360, and I would combine them, and then I would send them to PCBWay to get printed, because I think it would save me, one, it would save me money, and two, it would save me a lot of time. The other thing that I probably would change, and still might change, are this looks really good on the mannequin, and it looks really good with the helmet on the mannequin. However, I have absolutely no ability to turn my head. Even with these TPU pieces, it's still really rigid. There isn't much flexibility. So I would probably get rid of this whole top part wrapping around the back here. And then I would also get rid of this first front part as well. And I think that that would help with mobility a little bit. It wouldn't look as clean, but you gotta be able to move your head, you know? So that's one of the things I would change about this. As you can see, it just kind of slips right on the mannequin, which is really nice. You can see the extra padding I put in there and some of the strapping, but that would kind of have a whole rework on the neck piece. Honestly, I would do that differently. And as I take off this neck piece, you can see that there's some magnets here. There's two magnets I installed right here and a magnet I installed on the back. I didn't show this in my video. I did not make a cape for this suit either, okay? I don't plan to make a cape. I am going to use the cape that I've used for my Arkham Knight suit. It's right here. It actually connects with magnets. And if I can find the items, they easily snap into place on the suit here. And I'm just gonna rotate that cape between the two suits because that cape took so long to make, and I'm not a sewing expert, and I really didn't wanna make another one. One of the things I would do differently on these arm pieces are these TPU parts. So these look really good. They're SLS printed parts, once again from PCBWay, but they're too rigid, okay? They look really great and they fit well on the mannequin, but when I'm actually moving my arms up and down, this should have some flexibility because these are connected together, and I would trade these out for straight up just elastic straps. And I did use elastic straps down here. It provides so much more flexibility, and these parts are really rigid. You can see them on the back here too. I would replace all of them with elastic straps. One, it's cheaper, might not look quite as good, but it's cheaper and it would provide way more flexibility. I just removed the shoulder pieces so we can see the chest and back a little bit better. One thing I did change on the chest piece that I didn't show in my videos was I cut a piece off on either side right here. You can see I took a Dremel, and there used to be like a square right here, and I cut that off because it was digging into my armpit. And it was extremely hard to basically close my arms together, move my arms in front of my body. And this just provided me a little bit more mobility, flexibility. We have these TP straps that come around. This is all one piece. And then the back plate, I wouldn't change anything with the back plate, but once again, these straps that come from the larger and the lower back plate, I would replace them with real elastic instead of TPU. TPU, once again, looks good, but it's really rigid. It would provide way more flexibility with elastic straps, and I don't really care for these buckles that I can see right here and right here. I would just use like button clasps with elastic straps, and I would hide them behind the actual pieces to make it, I guess, a little cleaner. And it would once again provide me way more flexibility and mobility. While we're talking about this, we can also touch on the abs. I did permanently connect this to the chest piece. I wouldn't change anything about these abs. They're all separate pieces and they're connected with elastic straps, and I have elastic straps that connected to the lower leg. This is perfect, wouldn't change a thing. The gauntlets as well, I really like. I took a little bit of creative liberty. I don't think there's supposed to be texture right here, but I think it looks really good. It matches the helmet and the shoulder pads. And if I take this off, I really like what I did with the magnets here. This thing does not come apart all the way. It just kind of opens, and it's enough for me to slide my fist through, my hand through, and it just clasps back together. It doesn't really fit, as you can see on the mannequin. The arms are too big, but it fits on my arms really well, and I really like how they turned out. These are TPU pieces that go to the elbow, and I wouldn't change that because I like the rigidity of it. It just keeps it in place. If they were elastic, it'd be flopping around. So wouldn't change anything about these either. Another piece I would change a lot about is this belt. All these resin pieces, I wouldn't change any of those, but the actual belt itself, I use TPU, and it's such a big piece, I had to print it in 4 parts. And if I can move this, you can see over here, there's a really bad seam. Now, I don't really care because my arms kind of get in the way of it, and there's stuff on the belt you can't really notice. But if I were to do this again, I would buy some actual leather strapping, and then I would line the back of the leather with some craft foam, just like this neck piece here, to provide a little bit of rigidity. And I think it would match the suit really well. It would look more like a belt, and it would be a little bit more functional. And I wouldn't have to deal with all the seams and stuff like that. Overall, this belt isn't bad for a cosplay piece. It looks fine, but if I were to do it again, I'd go all out and would use an actual leather belt. And then for the buckle, this is just connected. It slips through this and there's some Velcro. Once again, it's fine, but if I were to do it again, I'd buy one of these cheaps. This is an actual belt I own, and it has like this clicking mechanism where you push it in and it automatically locks it into place, and there's a lever, you can slide it. I would buy a cheap leather belt like this, like off of Amazon, and I would cut this part out and I would use it on the leather belt that I would make. I took the belt off so we can see the thighs better. I actually really hate how these thighs turned out after sitting with them a while. They're all TPU. You can see that I had to print them in 2 separate parts, and there's a really bad seam right here. I didn't even try to sand the TPU. I just put a coat of Plasti Dip over it. And as you can see, I've worn this suit a couple times, and the belt is rubbing the Plasti Dip off on both sides. Which, I mean, it's fine. If the belt's over, you can't notice as much, especially when you're wearing it. But if I were to do this again, I would... I mean, the whole point of making these TPU was to have the flexibility. I wanted to be able to sit down, and even with the TPU, I can't sit down. Like, it's just, there's too many limiting factors, including the ab plate, and the strapping is too tight. So if I were to do this again, I would just make it PLA. These slide right over my legs, so they can be rigid, and I think it would look better. I'd be able to sand it. You wouldn't be able to see the seam or anything, and it would still have all the functionality. So if you're thinking about making this suit, I would recommend that these be made in something rigid like resin, ABS, whatever you want. And then for the knee pads, I do like how these turned out. This is also TPU. I wouldn't change that to elastic either, kind of like the elbow pads. It provides rigidity, keeps it in place, and I wouldn't change that. I would still use TPU for these parts, and then this is resin. But the overall thighs themselves, I would redo. And then the last items are the boots. I really like how the boots turned out. They fit me really well. I got these for $40 to $45 boots, matte black, like hiking boots off Amazon, and I really love them. I got some comments saying they didn't look good with it, and I disagree, but everybody is entitled to their own opinion. These boots, they literally just hold up via friction. So there are these tabs. Obviously, this is on the mannequin. This is how the mannequin attaches, so it doesn't fully connect here, which is fine. You can't really see it from the front, but literally just these tabs stick into here and it just sticks on my leg through friction, and then these hiking boots actually hold the whole thing up, and then this piece in front just sits there, and I do have a piece of Velcro that attaches it to the boot in front. But overall, those boots fit really well, and I'm really satisfied with them. Definitely better than these old Arkham Knight boots that I have. Oh my gosh, those need some help. Okay, I think that covers everything I wanted to touch on. What I'm gonna do now is remove the items from the mannequin, and then I'm gonna do a time lapse of actually getting ready in the suit. I am gonna have my brother help me get in the suit. I can do it myself, but it's a lot easier when you have somebody to help you out, so I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, so as you can see, I got the whole suit on. I don't have the cape on. I wanted to show you guys what this looks like without the cape. Big thank you to my brother for helping me out. It is a challenge to get on, especially the neck piece. I am going to show you guys the cape, so I'm not going to do a time lapse of it, but it's basically just involves taking off this neck piece and putting the cape on. So hang tight, and I'll get that on in just a second. All right, so this is what it looks like with everything on. You can see the cape here. I think the cape makes it look a lot better. I don't think it looks bad without the cape, but it definitely, makes the whole suit. Overall, I have pretty good movement of my arms, as you can hear a lot of clanking, maybe some of the Velcro. Legs, good movement there. The neck piece is constantly coming off, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, that this is something that I would totally redo, and I still might redo it because it's just so annoying. I literally cannot move my head at all, and every time I do, it just kind of comes apart. But I want to know what you guys think. I don't really go to Comic-Con events or anything like that. I don't really know why. It just has never been my thing. I love creating these things more than actually wearing them, and I love displaying them. But this would be awesome to bring to Comic-Con and show off, but it would also be very uncomfortable for the whole day. So I want to know what you guys think about the suit. If any of you guys are making it, I hope that you guys learned something from the tutorials that I made, and that this can give you some inspiration to bring your own creativity into it. So I'll see you guys later.